Hi there, gang. It's Blake. I'm back from a couple of pretty long weeks that I needed to take off to deal with a couple of different things. And I just wanted to fill you guys in on some of that. So, a couple of weeks ago, I guess maybe it was closer to 3 weeks now, but I had to go to my hepatologist, my liver doctor, just on a routine. Every so often I have to go and see him and do blood work and all of that. So I had to do that, I think, earlier in the year. I don't know. I'm losing so much track of dates right now that it's hard to even remember like what day something particular happened as opposed to the next day. It all just runs together. But I think this was at the beginning of November that I had to go see my hepatologist, and we were talking about just kind of the shape that I'm in and all of that. And he had been looking over my blood work and all of that, and asking me some questions and things, and I said that I was feeling good, and just all of the small talk that we always talk about. And then he wanted to take a look at my like abdomen and everything, and then he had mentioned that, well, actually, I wanted to start with one of the first questions I asked was, if like once I have this hernia surgery, like what's the what's my belly button gonna look like afterward? Like, because I mean, whenever, just imagine like if your stomach swells up to where you're like having a baby, and I know for like 9 months is usually how long that lasts, but imagine if it's that way for like 3 years. And so, like, I mean, for a while I could like still see my belly button, even though it was like getting really weird looking. And and um then once it had been like long enough that that this problem was obviously not going away, and just something that I was having to deal with, like eventually it just kind of, it's like whenever you blow air into a balloon so much and you can kind of see where that little nub is on the end of it. But once it's blown up, like you can barely tell like where that little nubby part was. That's kind of what my belly button looked like. Like by the end of it, I couldn't even tell where it used to be. Like I'm like, I know that I had a belly button, but I don't see where it was. I have no idea. And that is a really weird thought to have. So like now it's going down so much, like it's starting to, I can tell again where it's at, but it's just like kind of like reshaping, I guess, itself, and it's just really bizarre. But so I started off by asking him that. I was like, is this going to be like, after I have this surgery, is this going to be something that will go away back to normal? Um, like after they go in and patch it up, like is it just gonna, will they be able to fix that and so it'll look like it used to? And he said, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. And then he came over and wanted to take a look, and and he was like, well, what I was thinking that we can do, because you've made a remarkable improvement, which to hear any doctor say that, let alone my doctor who rarely shows any emotion at all. But I know they don't like to get anyone's hopes up in situations like that. So the fact that he used that phrase, remarkable improvement, was pretty exciting for me. And I was like, okay, I'm listening, keep going. And he was like, you've made remarkable improvement, and I'm thinking that we can take you off of the transplant list, because right now it would just be a hindrance to whatever's happening with you right now. Because it's extremely rare that someone who was as bad off as me get to that point where, like, the fluid that was in my stomach, it's been almost a year since I've had to have that taken out or anything. And he was like, so what we can do, he grabbed like a little handheld ultrasound machine, and put that like on my abdomen and kind of listened around. He's like, yeah, there's no fluid in there right now. So what we can do is we'll have another ultrasound, or maybe it was an MRI. I don't remember which he said, in January. And if that comes back and there's no fluid still, then we'll go ahead and just bite the bullet and do the hernia surgery. Um, which I was like making sure that I heard him right, because I'm like, okay, everything that I've read and heard, like these things don't go away. So, but I was like, if you think that that is doable, then yeah, then let's do that. And so and remember that I have the belly button hernia, but I also have two of the groin hernias. So all of that we'll be able to deal with in January, as long as it's still, as long as the ascites, the fluid buildup, is still under control. I still have to take my medications to keep that in check. And but I was like, yeah, I mean that sounds good to me. So he, like the next day or so, I got the official letter that they had taken me off of the transplant list. And he's like, if you ever need to go back on it or whatever, we've already got all the information. We can just, you don't have to go through all that again. We can just put you back on it. So, I mean, it was basically like the best news that I could have gotten. The fact that in January, which is now just a month away, basically, um, that if everything is good, which I mean, I haven't noticed any reason why it wouldn't be. Like I've been pounding protein to kind of put weight back on, and sort of like doing a little bit of like ab work, like workouts, just enough to kind of get things in good enough shape that I could heal quickly after this is done. Um, but I got yeah, so I mean, basically that's where that is. I'm not looking for a liver at the moment, and I wanted to use that to make a point that all of these things that I've said in the past and that I've learned in the past, if you're going through this, just keep going. Because I just all that I did was stick with what they told me to do and take my meds and everything like I was supposed to. And then now, by however, I mean, I don't know, I've overcome like 3 strokes, internal bleeding, um, several times. Now, like this ascites seems to have gone, maybe if not gone away, it's at least under enough control that we can do what needs to be done, and my body will be back to like totally normal again. And that is such a relief. Like, I mean, it's, I can't even explain how hard it is to like see yourself one way and then suddenly to like taking a shower and see yourself and just think like, what, how did this happen? Like, and I had almost gotten to the point where I had like just was about to give up on just like, well, I mean, I guess the best of my years are behind me. I mean, and I didn't even see it coming. So it was just really sad to have to deal with that. But I mean, I never stopped and I never gave up, and I overcame all of these things. And now I'm not asking questions how it happened or why. I'm just going to go with it and hope for the best. So, I mean, that's all that I can say. Any advice that I have given, though, keep in mind that it's all been very honest, and it's exactly what I went through. Um, and I still have liver problems. Like that didn't change. I've just gotten, I guess, whatever liver was salvageable, I've gotten healthy enough that it's able to, because you only really need a little bit, enough liver to function. And I guess that I've been able to save that much and get that back to good health, that now my body can work like it's supposed to again. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Right now, that doesn't really matter to me. And I still want to be here to go through like the steps as things are happening, and always still make sure to let you guys know kind of where I'm at in all of this process. And I also want to keep this open, and for anyone who sees this maybe in the future or whatever, I don't want them to feel like this is going to be something that lasted for a little while and now it's gone. Um, for as long as this channel goes on, this will be a struggle that I've had and that is still affecting me physically and mentally. So I'm never going to turn my back on that. And I'll be talking about that still pretty frequently. Um, but another thing that happened was, since I've been sick, I'm sorry, I hope you guys can't see it, but like the light is shining in right here, and I keep like saying certain letters where this like spit is just flying out so I can see it, but I don't know if y'all can, and I hope not. But uh, I started on this looking for jobs that I would like to do whenever this is all done, and I'm wanting to expand that into like nonprofits for helping young people. Since I have taught in the past, that's still kind of where my passion lays. So helping young people or people who are struggling with substance abuse, or mental illness, and particularly if I can find, I kind of want to specialize in like the LGBTQ community, because I kind of want to get as specific as I can with it, because I feel like I have something to offer people who I have that much in common with, even though like I want to help as many people as I can. But if I know something about a situation that not everyone does, then I feel like I can be even more use to those people. So I applied to several different places, just to kind of get some experience while I'm healing through all of this. And I started working at a crisis center 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a pretty long, strenuous training class, but now I'm actually talking with people who are reaching out to us for crisis situations, and just to talk, or if they're considering more and things like that. So that's been consuming a lot of my time. It's one of the best things that I've ever done, I think, with my time. And this is like, I once I have 200 hours with these people, then I can get a letter of recommendation to kind of use that if I want to either stay there and expand, or to move on to something a little more along the lines of what I want to ultimately do. But I'm happy that I'm actually doing something that I wanted to do without going back to teaching, because I'm just really unhappy with the whole teaching situation. And I don't think that I do as much good there as I can elsewhere. So I wanted to bring some of that into this vlog too, now that the liver is not going to be just my main focus. I'm going to start kind of talking about some things that just people struggle with, like some of the things that I get a lot of people reaching out about, things like loneliness, depression. I imagine around the holidays there's going to be a lot more of that. Um, but I just kind of want to use that because I can't get real specific with those people necessarily, because I'm just a counselor, I'm not a therapist. So I can't really offer them advice and things like that. I'm there to listen. But through YouTube, I can openly talk about these things without mentioning who these people are who are calling in for these reasons. Because sometimes, like, I just so much want to say I know exactly what you mean, because I, like, you are explaining exactly what I've been through, but I can't say that because we're not supposed to share that kind of information, which makes perfect sense. I mean, we shouldn't do that. It's mostly a sounding board for people to express themselves and get out how they feel, and it's not about us. But with my intimate friends or people who are looking to hear things like that and have these same struggles, then yeah, we can talk about that here. So that's kind of what I want to transition toward. Um, so I'll be doing some of the liver and drinking issues, and definitely drinking problems. Like, that's a big thing that people who reach out during these crises, that's how they deal with a lot of this, is through, I mean, thoughts of suicide or self-harm, or lots of drugs and alcohol, but it's mostly about just being alone and not having anyone to talk to. So that fits right in perfectly with what I had originally intended for this to be, is somewhere where people can go to realize that they're not alone in the way that you feel. It's totally normal, and sometimes you just want to be able to share that with people, and I get that, and a lot of people understand and feel exactly the same way that you do. Um, so I think that basically covers what I wanted to say. I'm no longer on the transplant list, and that's amazing. I'm so happy about that. Um, I don't even know what to say about it. I'm hoping that everything goes perfectly in January, and that I can get these hernia surgeries done and be back to like my old self again. Like, I can't wait. I feel like I've lost so much time to this, even though a lot of it is self-imposed. But I mean, but understandably so, I think, if you were to put yourself in my position. But hopefully, come January, I won't have to worry about that anymore. Um, and anyway, I'll let you guys know how that goes, and I am excited to get to share that news with y'all, and I hope that good things happen for anybody who needs them to, regarding this situation. Like I said before, it's not, I was struggling, and to me it felt like it was the end of everything. But now you can take it from me that it's not the end of the world, and there are things that you can do. So just keep looking forward, keep doing what you're supposed to do, and you never know what's going to happen. So I am going to, I guess, maybe get a little bit of work done for today, and then maybe paint these frightful nails, or I don't know. Anyway, so you guys take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye.